Well, let's bring in our guest now. And Varghese is a Manhattan-based lawyer who's been writing about Mr. Cuomo's impeachment investigation. Vinu, what do you make of Cuomo's role in the nursing home scandal?
Well, it appears right from the outset that there may be impeachable offenses and potentially criminal offenses. You have his chief of staff telling Democratic lawmakers that they withheld information from the investigation because they didn't want it to be used in the federal probe against them. So I think you have a potential obstruction here of information, potentially some type of tampering. You know, this is what the U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn is looking at right now. And while this is going on, it ultimately may not be something that's criminal. I mean, obviously the standards are much higher for a criminal act than they would be for an impeachable offense, which is basically a violation of public trust. If he knew the actual data for nursing home debts and then hid that at the same time published a book touting his own successes in handling the pandemic, well, I don't know what else rises to the level of impeachable offenses in New York State.
Vinu, New York's Attorney General Letitia James is looking for the watchdog to take a look at this. What could happen as a result?
Well, she's brought in two lawyers from outside to do the investigation as to these claims that have been brought forth. So there's multiple things going on here, multiple investigations. Ultimately, the things that you're talking about are disturbing. Particularly if he facilitated tests for people in his family or people he cared about or for whatever reason over the mass population. I mean, look, obviously there's a certain he's the governor, so he needs to be tested. He needs to make sure that he can still lead, so that he's going to get a bit of a reprieve on that. But I'm not sure about why Chris Cuomo, if that's accurate, should get it.
And could it be true that they actually drafted a list of 100 VIPs to take care of first?
Look, I'm a criminal defense attorney. I'm a former prosecutor. I like to wait till all the facts come out and it's clear.
Sure.
So I don't know that.
Okay.
And what I can say is that let's wait till the facts come out on that.
Well, let's turn to a point you made in one of your articles. Don't let Cuomo's #MeToo moment distract from his impeachable offenses. Let me just talk about the sexual harassment claims first of all. 10 women now have come forward. I just want to listen to the latest woman who has come forward and accused him of harassing her.
He was going to pet my dog, but instead he wedged his face between the dog and mine and kissed me on the other cheek in what I felt was highly sexual manner. I know the difference between an innocent gesture and a sexual one. I never felt as uncomfortable as I did the day that Governor Cuomo came to my home. His actions were very overly sexual, highly inappropriate, and disrespectful to me and my family.
Vinu, what do you make of the harassment allegations?
Look, ultimately there's an investigation going on. My point about some of these are already seem bizarre. I mean, there are people coming forward out of the woodworks now saying all sorts of different things about how they felt. And my point in the article that I published was that at least at the time that I published it, which was a couple of weeks ago, so I think only at that point 4 women had come forward, and some of them were somewhat dubious. I mean, the one yesterday, I mean, it seems bizarre. I mean, he kissed her in plain view. That's not sexual harassment. I mean, it's not criminal. And he kissed her on the cheek. And there's a woman who said that he aggressively kissed her at a window. I mean, look, I'm not Italian, but I certainly think that Cuomo's going to use the Italian defense on that. Oh. And I think that this is getting out of hand. And let's focus on the nursing homes, which I agree with Jennifer on.
So the most
important beyond terrible.
Right, I understand. But let me ask you one final question for both of you. Jennifer first. If you're in New York, we're not. But if you were to predict, will he see out his full term, or do you think he'll go before that?
I can't see him resigning. He's too much of an egotistical narcissist and sociopath to ever think that he even did anything wrong enough to have to resign.
I agree with Jennifer on that. He's certainly not going to resign, and I think he's going to see this out. So unless the New York State Assembly legislature acts or the U.S. Attorney's Office comes forward with charges, he's going to live out. He's going to stay out his term.
Varghese, Jennifer Harrison, thank you both for your contributions to the Nexus today. Much appreciated.